This has New York Knicks fans split, as New York is still actively searching the free agent market to use that final veterans minimum contract that they have, and they have been revealed to be targeting multiple veteran players for that role, specifically looking at one or two positions in regards to what they want in free agency, with multiple names being revealed, and we're going to break all this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as always. Guys, if you are part of that percentage that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, if you're part of that 67% that is not watching these, or that's watching these Knicks Digest videos, struggle a little bit there, but not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. You guys have been killing it recently. Thank you so much for 19,000 subscribers. It really means a lot. Let's jump into the video, though. There is a lot to go over on the Knicks, as Leon Rose and the team do have some tough decisions to make with that final veterans minimum deal. Now, there's been a lot of names that we've heard overlap a bunch, both internally and externally in regards to the Knicks. The one we've probably talked about the most on this channel is Landry Shamet, who was with the Knicks last year, and it would be good to re-sign him. He'll definitely be someone who was brought up. But we've also talked about other guys like Marcus Smart and Demir Coffey as well for that position, and a few other names towards the beginning of free agency that we went over as well. But here we are right now. We're in the middle of July, and summer's flying. And look, the Knicks, they still have that final veterans deal that they are going to sign someone to, and they're clearly being meticulous about who they want to add. While there's a lot of veteran free agents still in the market that are very good, who do have options, but they're clearly all weighing their options. And we're going to jump right in and just look at some of these names that were revealed by Knicks insider Ian Begley, who did say the Knicks have enough money for one veteran minimum contract and one rookie contract before they've reached the second apron. They have been in touch with players who could fill a backup guard role in free agency. So if they did a backup guard with that final roster spot, it would potentially clog a pathway for Tyler Kolek. Now, we will talk about Tyler Kolek more. There's a bunch of Summer League stuff happening, so we're going to get into the Kolek stuff very, very soon. But that's not what this video is about right now. This is about the free agent targets that are going to be listed. Now, obviously, again, I've been vocal that I would love it to be Landry Shamet. I would also love Amir Coffey because I think both of them fill positions of need for the Knicks, which are three-point shooters. I think they need a lights-out, knockdown three-point shooter. I wanted them to draft Kobe Bryant in the NBA draft. They didn't do that, and he's playing awesome with Phoenix. So we're seeing the Knicks desperately need a three-point sniper, and well, one of the main guys that they've been linked to that a lot of Knicks fans are interested in, but it does have fan split, as I said earlier, is the polar opposite of a lights-out shooter. Good old Ben Simmons. Now, Ben's been linked to the Knicks a bunch, and Ian Begley just did it again with another update on Simmons, as well as some other names. As Begley mentioned, the Knicks have continued to touch base with Ben Simmons throughout the free agency period. I'm sure they have touched base with other veterans as well. Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook are among the lead guards still on the market. But Simmons is the one who the Knicks have been looking at the closest. Now, Ben Simmons, his stats are very messed up here, so we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. But we're just going to push right through. I do know Ben Simmons' stats. He's putting up like 6, 6, and 6. But obviously with Simmons, it's a mix of a few things. It's one that he's a point guard, but he's 6'10". He's a phenomenal on-ball defender, and he does not shoot at all, ever. He does not do that. He's not a shooter. And what it's going to lead to for this Knicks team is a situation where effectively they're going to have that tough decision to make, saying, do we want to add another defender who would fit well in a Mike Brown team because he could drive through, create good driving kicks, and move in transition well? Now, Simmons has been an interesting case for a while now, because we went from watching this guy who, Ben Simmons, was a very young player who instantly broke out into the scenes and was looking like everything the 76ers expected out of their first overall pick in 2016. However, obviously his career didn't start till the following year because of the injury, and then once he did get things started, it was a good beginning. Now, he wasn't shooting, but he was always known to be a non-shooter completely, so the fact that he wasn't shooting wasn't too surprising, but he was shooting more jump shots back then. He wasn't necessarily shooting jumpers, he was always shooting at the rim, but there was more of an where it felt like it was possible he would. He was taking fadeaways. He wasn't the worst free throw shooter on the planet. There was a lot about Ben Simmons that was different in his rookie season, and things started to change around that time in 2021, with the notable play being when he had that wide open layup where Trae Young was 3 feet away from him, basically under the basket, and Ben was under the basket on the other side, and he passed it up to Tobias Harris. the Sixers, that was in Game 7. Tobias Harris missed that shot while Ben had a wide open layup. And on top of that, they went on to go get eliminated in that same game, knocking them out of the playoffs as a 1 seed as the Atlanta Hawks upset them and moved on to the conference finals where they would ultimately lose to the Milwaukee Bucks. So basically, Ben Simmons has had this weird career arc that none of us really expected. There's been a lot of discussion about his back, but also a lot of discussion about his mentality entirely. What is Ben Simmons' actual situation here? Is he injured? Is he in his head? Can the Knicks fix that? Or can the Knicks use the version of Ben Simmons that's here today positively for their team? I think the answers to most of these questions are yes. There is a world that Ben Simmons is checked out. He got his money. Maybe he was never the biggest fan of playing basketball because, Patrick Beverley said it. A good chunk of NBA players don't necessarily love basketball by any means. They love the money and the fame that they get from it. So with Simmons, it feels like it definitely could be one of those situations. But also, I don't know Ben Simmons personally, and I don't want to accuse him of not liking basketball because I don't know if he does or if he doesn't. So I'm not trying to sit here and be accusatory towards him. But however, it is a little bit, that's a redundant statement, but I almost did it again. But look, basically, with Simmons, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of evaluate this. Simmons will have offers from other teams as well. There is sort of a thought that he'll move on from the Clippers, but he also very likely could re-sign there. Simmons wanted to be in LA the whole time. When he was holding out from Philly and he was going to be traded, he requested a trade to one of the California teams, saying he didn't really care where, but he preferred to be traded to the Lakers or the Clippers because he wanted to be out in LA. That's just where he wanted to be. It was where he's going to be happiest. So is he really going to come back all the way to the East Coast to the same city that he was once in with the Brooklyn Nets before, going back? It feels weird. So I really don't think Ben Simmons is going to end up on the Knicks at all as well. I think another team is going to offer him a deal that he's going to accept instead. It's just a gut feeling for me, but I do think the Knicks, headlined by Leon Rose, who is interested in Ben Simmons, will probably give him a contract offer. Now, Chris Paul is another case here of someone who we've seen a lot earlier on in the free agency process. We heard a lot about Chris Paul and effectively that he's definitely a very talented player who is just so good for the growth of young players. Paul is entering what's going to be his final season in the NBA. He said next season is the last one that he's ever going to do, and that he did think about retiring as time went on for just this entire year. Now, Paul, I don't think he's going to sign with the Knicks for one reason. There's kind of a guard logjam with Deuce McBride and Jordan Clarkson there, not to mention Tyler Kolek. Now, would Paul be helpful for the Knicks? Absolutely. Is Leon Rose Paul's former agent? Yes. There's a bunch of connections here, and it felt like Chris Paul was going to end up on the Knicks in this Leon tenure, and he still could, but with it being his last season, I think he will want to do the retirement tour with the team that he's played on before, so I think that does narrow things down to the Clippers or the Houston Rockets. I'm very, very sure Chris Paul is going to end up in Houston. I think he'll go back there, play with Kevin Durant, kind of have one of the guys from his era as well with him as he does this final season in a city that he played 2 years in and was really loved as a player there until the whole thing kind of flamed out, partially just because the Golden State Warriors existed. That was a big part of it, let's be real. But outside of that, there's also the other name that we've heard about is Russell Westbrook. The Knicks were known to have interest in Westbrook, and it felt like a deal that was going to happen until Jordan Clarkson got bought out, taking the Knicks by surprise and completely rerouting everything to them trying to acquire Clarkson, which they did. And the Knicks had interest in Clarkson for 2 years, so it wasn't surprising to see that deal get done. Westbrook, he kind of fell off with the Knicks after that because he wants to go somewhere where he'll get consistent minutes and is likely expected to leave the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Sacramento Kings were another team that Russ was linked to, but they also did sign Dennis Schroeder to that contract, that $15 million per year contract over 3 years, where it is likely we'll see Schroeder play there for maybe a season before ending up eventually getting traded, because I do imagine with the new GM and Scott Perry, the Kings will kind of do a fire sale. And that does lead Russell Westbrook sort of away from a team that's going to end up being a fire sale. Russ doesn't have a ring. He's not going to be in the NBA for much longer. So this is one of those situations where he should probably go somewhere that at least has the opportunity to succeed. I kind of think it's going to end up being Miami just because he's been linked to Miami for years and years and years and years. So I do think it'll end up being Miami is my guess for Russ. I don't think the Knicks are going to sign any of these guys. I think it's going to end up being Landry Shamet or Marcus Smart, if we're being honest. And we do have a video coming out on that very, very soon. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you can see that one as well as all the other great content we have here. Guys, I'm sorry the stats did not work. Usually that does not happen. I don't understand what went wrong there. So we're going to have to check that out. We'll fix that up. Thank you so much for watching. I just hit my microphone. Have a great day and go Knicks.